has to work the least hard, yani, to deceive us because of all the tools and powers that we've given him to use against us. Okay? So today we discuss the monster that is social media. It's very difficult. There's going to be tons of things I missed today because it's not the type of thing you could speak about in an hour. You can probably have like 1 week long conventions just on social media because of how all encompassing it is in terms of our lives, how we use it, where we use it, and why we use it, okay? But today, you can take it almost as a taste, okay? A taste in how social media deceives us, how we can use it well, we don't use it well, and just examples, okay? So if anyone has any comments or questions, whatever, and you feel free throughout, I have no problems with anybody saying whatever they want to say, because this is not one of those topics where I'm speaking to you about something you have no clue about, okay? All of you are very well versed in social media, much better than I am, very well ingrained and have it in your lives, most of you. So you will be able to know exactly what I'm talking about. So let's continue. So the point of the series is to demonstrate the devil's work in our world, how he uses the stuff around us to move us away from God. The key word here is subtly, without us realizing. Okay? And that's kind of the emphasis I wanted today, the subtly, without us realizing, because we all use it, but we don't see how it's using us, okay? And how the devil is using it and us for his work, okay? First things first. The first lady is Sheryl Sandberg. The second person is a guy who basically does studies and research about how social media today is affecting us efficiency in the workplace. He's by no means like a Christian preacher or anything. He's just like telling us how it is. So the first one, Sheryl Sandberg, she's one of the startups or chief executives in Facebook. Okay, she's been there for a very long time. And she was saying social media has created a historical shift from the historically powerful to the historically powerless. Now everyone has a voice. And that's what you're going to constantly hear in the media today, in news, in sports, on CNN, wherever you walk. People address social media as now the great empowerer of the weak, okay? The one that gives power to those who have no voice. It's the voice to the voiceless, okay? And we see that today. If any of you are following the NFL and the whole Colin Kaepernick thing and the Black Lives Matter and the kneeling at the anthems and all that stuff that's constantly in the news, okay? And even now the President of the United States is like on a whole like clash with this, people kneeling and all this stuff and protests. You start to see that everyone has a voice. CNN will put a tweet or an Instagram post or a Snapchat of some random person, and suddenly a person who has 50 followers has become trending and online, and their voice is as if they were a superstar or some sage, wise person, okay, that
someone to idol worship.
Basically, to idol worship, or even that their opinion matters, okay? Suddenly there are like 5 million Gandhis around the world, and Mother Teresa's, and Nelson Mandela's, and people who just look at as a voice for whatever social injustice they want, or whatever advocacy they want, okay? The second quote is funny, because it goes along the same lines, but with one caveat. It says, the good thing about social media is it gives everyone a voice, exactly what the first quote says. But then he says, the bad thing is it gives everyone a voice. So the good thing is that it gives everyone a voice, but the bad thing is that it gives everyone a voice. And that's where we're getting to today. So let's start first with a few good examples. I'm sorry that they're all people dressed in black. That wasn't the point. There's tons of people who are not clergy members, but I had to kind of find things that I could put on and get them off the had, and at the same time, I wanted them to be ultra okay, and you're going to see when we get to the bad, it was very difficult to find bad posts and stuff to put on that were bad, but I could still show them. So like I saw a lot of weird things today, okay? I'm not gonna lie. There's things I can never unsee again. So good. So this is not too long ago, it's probably yesterday or the day before. This is one of the people, this is from my Twitter line, okay? This is my Twitter. I just basically took a screenshot on my phone. This Ambangelo is telling us about this new saint of our church. You guys have probably heard about it or seen it, who was basically macheted down on the street, and the videos were all over Facebook, all over everything, Twitter, of some guy running after this saint now with a machete and just in live stream, like basically stabbing him and killing him, and basically he was martyred in front of everybody, okay? So one of the things that it could be used for is community, fellowship, for us to comfort each other, for us to come together as Christians, come together as Coptic Orthodox, come together as Egyptians. It doesn't even have to be as Christians, just as Egyptians. It gives a sense of community. That's not a bad thing. That's a great thing. We can have fellowship. We can notify each other of things like this. We can pray for each other. That's good. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good use. Another good use. So again, people talking about social injustice and activism. So even like Mangiros, a lot of times he does this, okay? He tries to point to things, like he just doesn't say like, oh, pray for Egyptians who are being massacred or whatever. No, he points to things like that, like we're being ignored, that there's Christian genocide in the world and we're being ignored. This is good use of this. If we're not going to do it, who's going to do it? So I'm actually kind of proud that in our church today we have people like Amangiros, bishops who go around and they want to raise the voice of the people who are never heard, like poor people in Egypt or people who are undergoing genocide, okay? And also, we can use it for preaching. So he puts a nice quote from Mother Teresa. He says, sometimes we think that poverty is only being hungry, naked, homeless. It's also being unwanted, unloved, uncared for. So it's beautiful things that make you think. Social media can make you think. It can make you come closer to God. It can spark something, okay, inside of you for spirituality. There's a big but coming, okay? But let's stay on the nice. After Las Vegas, you guys heard about Las Vegas, the crazy guy who just started shooting people at a concert outside of his hotel room, and all these people died for no reason. Whatever it means, 60 people, 58, something like that, were just gunned down at a concert. This is the newest massacre of last week, and it was all over the news. And people are asking questions. They're asking why. Why does God allow this to happen? People want to be comforted. People are scared. This is in the United States where you can be walking and suddenly you're in the street and some guy guns you. So this is Periscope, which is like through Twitter, and there's Facebook Live, does the same thing. So Father Anthony Messiha basically went on live and he started to talk about it. And it'll tell you like there are 800 viewers. So one person can answer 800 people's questions in one shot about something that happened live within the last few hours. And it's a wonderful tool, okay, for ministry. It's a wonderful tool, again, for there's this whole thing about iftiqad, like in Egypt, where you go door to door to check up on people. Well, this is door to door, but instead of seeing one person in their house, you're seeing 800 people in their living rooms. They're seeing you, and you're talking with them, and they can reply to you. It's a wonderful tool, okay? But there's always the but. Let's go to the bad now, okay? A few bad examples. And again, there's much worse, but I'm going to show you ones that were either in the news or they have a purpose behind them. So this lady, and I don't want to judge her because God knows her life has been destroyed since this, so I don't need to pile on anymore. I'm not putting this on as judgment. I'm putting this on as the forever imprint of social media, okay? Now you guys know the terms and service agreement of like Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, all these things is that anything you put becomes theirs. Okay? This is part of it. Like you literally cannot delete your Facebook. You can inactivate it, but you cannot delete it. Okay? A picture that you put on Facebook, your name, your address, your birthday, whatever it be, is theirs forever, every picture. So let's say you're young and you put a picture that you don't really like when you're older because it was bad or scandalous or something that you're not proud of. They now own it. So let's say in the future you become someone famous or someone that's known, or one of you becomes the Pope of the Coptic Orthodox Church, or some famous next nun, Mother Teresa, and someone has a picture of you in a bikini when you're young, or a boy smoking a joint of marijuana. Well, guess what? It is theirs now forever. And that's what you sign up to. Guess what? It's free for a reason. This is the payment. Okay? What people don't realize is that these are multi-billion-dollar companies. I think Facebook is now valued at $200 billion. No one of you is paying a cent to be on it. The payment is your information that they sell and that they keep. And the payment is the advertisers who want that information. This is no secret, guys. If you really want to read more about this, or it's all over the place. You can actually go into the financial statements of Facebook and go and read the kind of money they make selling advertisers your information and your stuff. No one's ever asked, like, how do they know where I am? So, like, they give me an ad when I'm in Montreal, but if I'm in Ottawa, there's an ad to a store that's in Ottawa. If I'm in Paris, it's an ad to... How do they know where you are? They know what you like. They know what your style is. They know... And this is the world that we're starting to live in, okay? So, why did I put this up there? Is that this poor girl, okay, I don't want to say poor, like, she did it herself, but I don't want to judge her for anything because I have my own mistakes. But she's getting onto, she's a PR, okay? She is public relations for a very big company, okay? Her job is PR. She's getting on a flight to go to South Africa. She's about to board the flight, literally board the flight to South Africa. She tweets this tweet, going to Africa, hope I don't get AIDS, just kidding, I'm white. Someone might find that funny, other people will be, there are millions of people dying every day of AIDS. That's not a joke, okay? One, it's racist, but it's also not a joke. Even if she was black, that's still not a joke. That's not a laughing matter. Still, some people might find it funny. She happened to find it funny, a moment of misjudgment. I'm not going to judge her any further for it. She gets onto the plane, she puts her phone on airplane mode. The flight is 12 hours long. In 12 hours, this made it onto CNN. In 12 hours, she was fired. In 12 hours, she was publicly ridiculed, and there were already petitions online with her name. She landed, and literally, her life was over, okay? She landed, she no longer had a job. She was in Africa for no reason, because she was going for business. Now they pulled her job. And now she can never work in her field again, and she went on interviews after that to talk about how it ruined her life, and this, that, whatever. 1 second, one misjudgment, that's what, 2 sentences, 3 sentences, okay? And this is what is so dangerous about social media, is that we all have moments of wrath, moments of anger, moments of misjudgment, and we put something online, and no matter what we do, it's forever online. No matter what you do to delete it or whatever you think, people have seen it, it's now ingrained, it's now permanent, okay? How many of you are willing to make that leap into a dangerous world where everything you do is permanent? Knowing what you know about your lives and the things that you regret that you've said or regret that you've done or places that you've gone, right? And this is one of the dangers, okay? One of the deceptions. It's all good and nice and beautiful, but we don't realize what we're embarking on when we come into this, all right? Next, another bad. The beauty of oversharing. So you guys know who the Kardashians are. I had to find something that was semi-benign, but okay? So she felt one day to go on and be like, what's up, Twitterville? Okay, she's talking to her followers. She has tens of millions of followers. And she goes, I am in a weird mood right now. I think I'm PMSing. Not good. Fantastic. She's now overshared to us something that should not be shared. Like, it doesn't. So I found something benign, but you can imagine the type of things people share. Okay? This is now ingrained. It's now permanent. So think of it as you've now decided to share with people something. It doesn't have to be this. It could be anything that's weird. And we live in a world of oversharing. We like to overshare what we buy. We like to overshare what we wear. We like to overshare where we're going on vacation. We overshare what clothes we have, what clothes we're going to buy, what restaurants we eat. And then there's the very annoying habit of taking a picture of your dinner plate, okay? And I'm saying annoying because I'm also guilty of that, okay? Taking it and being like, oh, so yummy. And then the whole world knows that you've had a lasagna. Like, okay? What's the problem with this? The problem is there's no more closed door. There's no more privacy. There's no more mystery into your life. Everyone knows every single thing about you. There was a point in time where my wife, and I'm going to out her here, but it's okay, we've had this discussion. I don't think I got a permission, but anyways, I'm going to go with it anyways. Where there was a point in my life where, like, a lot of things were about me and the children were, like, out of, like, excitement or happiness, or it would be unless. So people come up to me that I've never met, never known, nothing in Fairview, and be like, Paul, and I'm like, I don't know who you are, sorry, I can't remember. They're like, no, you don't know me. And I'm like, okay, great. She said, how was your trip? And I was like, it was great, this is getting weird. How's Valentina? How's Nathaniel? And I'm like, this is extremely, extremely strange. How's it that you don't know? She said, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm really good friends with Mireille, and I have her on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it be, okay? And I'm standing there and I'm like, wow, naked, okay? Literally, my life is open. Taban, things have changed over time, but we both realize this, so, you try to take leaps to cover your life a bit more. Not everything belongs to everybody, okay? And this is the problem, and we're going to see what the problem spiritually is later. I'm just telling you what the problems now socially are, okay? This is the same thing I would tell someone who was atheist about Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever it be, Twitter. We're going to get to the spiritual problems with all these things, okay? So moving on. This one's hilarious. I found this funny but sad at the same time. So this girl, her name is clearly Sarah, and she has a weird name, okay? Like Twitter handle. She wants to make a joke at American Airlines, so she goes and she says, "Hello, my name is Ibrahim, I'm from Afghanistan, I'm part of Al-Qaeda, and on June 1st I'm going to do something really big. Bye." Okay? She thinks she's being funny, she virtually has no followers, she's a nobody. But remember what we said, it's a voice to the voiceless. It's as if everyone has a megaphone. American Airlines tweets back at her, "Sarah, we take these threats very seriously. Your IP address and details will be forwarded to security and the FBI." And now she's on a watch list, okay? And possibly a no-fly list, okay? This is the type of things that before, when we were stupid, like, forgive me for the word, when we were young and stupid, we used to like prank each other, okay? But if I like put saran wrap on the toilet in a convention, don't do that, guys. I don't know why I revealed that, okay? And someone came and they used the toilet and they got all dirty. Like, the joke was on them, it was funny, it was really unnecessary, but at least it was a prank between me and them. This is the whole world holding it against you for the rest of your lives. Again, this is not the spiritual perspective, this is the social perspective. We're going to get to the spiritual perspective. So the trouble that we get ourselves into, the self-incrimination, the things that we do that we wish and that we regret, okay? So now, the spiritual perspective. This is where it gets a little bit intense, okay? But it gets intense for a good reason. Is that this person, okay, St. John Climacus, or St. John of the Ladder, wrote a book like several hundred years ago called The Ladder of Divine Ascent, okay? It's basically a book that every clergyman, every monk, basically every Christian should read, but a lot have, okay? It's very famous. It's not a Coptic Orthodox guy. It's like, it's a book for basically every denomination. The person that like was writing the layman's guide to this, I don't even know if he's part of like the Orthodox Church anymore, but like that's not the point. The point is everyone sees this person as an authority on the ascent to get to heaven. Okay? So what he did was he wrote The Ladder of Divine Ascent, a book with 30 chapters. Okay? And he has a ladder, and this is the icon for it, and the icon basically is of a ladder, and people are going up this ladder, and at the top of the ladder is Jesus, and over here is hell, and the devil is trying to pull people off. So if you can see, it's a really blurry picture, I'm sorry. These are people on different stages of the ladder, and the devil has hooked them, and he pulls them down into hell. So basically, the ladder has 30 steps, and he's telling us what those steps are to get to the kingdom of heaven. They're all wonderful things, and a lot of them have social implications, basically, that have to do with what we're going to talk about today. So I'm by no means going to address 30 steps of the ladder. We're going to go through a few of them. But basically, what's most interesting about this picture, at least to me, is that the people that are falling off the ladder are not all on the first step or on ground zero. You actually see people falling off all the way up here. And if you were to read this book, you would realize how intense it is to make it up to here. Okay? What it requires to make it up to here. So the point it being, we're never safe until we take our last breath. We're never safe until we take our last breath. Spirituality and the spiritual life is a journey that goes until we get to the next world, okay, where we belong. So, here we go. This is 50 cents, 50 ish, okay? No. Step one of the ladder is withdrawal, okay? Withdrawal from the world. So he says, and these are all the next words you hear on every step are the words of St. John himself. He says, withdrawal from the world is a willing hatred of all that is materially prized. So now let's get into the spiritual place where social media, okay, is problematic and where the devil can use it to deceive us. So we go on social media. We are Christians. Our citizenship is not from here, it is from heaven, as St. Paul tells us. And St. John tells us, withdrawal from the world is a willing hatred of all that is materially prized. He says this is the first ladder step, okay? The first rung of the ladder. We need to hate everything that is material so that we can be able to fill our hearts with what is spiritual, okay? And we get onto social media, and nowadays we follow everybody. We follow rich people, we follow stars, and we have this image of happiness based on a few pictures of a few days of someone's life. So we get on, and this is a picture of 50 Cent, okay? This is after he claimed bankruptcy, okay? So people were making fun of him because they're like, oh, you're broke after your worth $100 million or like $1 billion or something. So he posted back this picture with basically the word broke in stacks of, I don't know, hundreds of thousands or something like that. So it basically told them this was a business move, I'm not really broke. And he put this up. And then the world basically came back at him, okay? The world came back at him for several reasons. One, you're taking advantage of the system. And two, okay, what are you doing flaunting your wealth in front of us in a time where people are struggling like this, okay? Especially African American in the United States. Like, it's just insensitive, okay, at a time like this to do something like that, right? So this one picture brought him so much pain and problems. And we likewise do the same thing. So if we're going to be withdrawing from the world, how are we going to make our lives about looking about everybody else's possessions, coveting their possessions, wanting their possessions, judging their possessions, and two, posting my own possessions? That makes us very centered on material things. And that's a very big space of social media right now. Showing others, or showing off, or looking at others show off to me. So that becomes the first, most obvious problem with social media, okay? Because it's very difficult for any of us if I tell you, don't post anything that you wouldn't be proud others would see. That's the whole point of social media. I'm going to post things that I'm proud of, that I want people to see. And usually that's whatever it be. My purchases, my way of life, my place of where I am, the amount of friends I have, my popularity, whatever it be, right? Moving on, step 3. Sorry, I don't want to put a female because guys are stupid and they get enticed very easily, so I put a guy. I figured to lust, okay? But basically, step three is, I told you I saw a lot of weird things today, I'm not gonna lie, okay? Step 3 is exile, is a separation from everything in order that one may hold on totally to God. Exile is a fugitive running from all relationships. And this is not running away from fellowship, spiritual fellowship. This is running away from all the useless relationships in our lives, okay? I cannot make my ascent to heaven with the weight of all the useless relationships in my life. And no one here can convince me that having 859 followers, okay, looking at my every meal, every purchase, every trip, everything I do, is not useless relationships. Because there is no way you trust 850 people with that kind of information. It can't happen. But now, because social media has made it acceptable, basically, the more you have as followers, the better, and the more proud of it we are. But that's also the more you have of strangers. And think about it, it's like this great pyramid, it's exponential, right? If one person shows 2 other people and 2 show 2, you're at like 1 billion before tomorrow, right? And this is exactly what happens. Yes, 859 people. Even if you tell me all of them are great, yes, well, they have also other friends who can see their stuff and what they like of yours or what they post of yours or whatever they be. And now the reach into your life, the tentacles that are grabbing onto your life, holding onto the privacy of your life, reaches out into people in the thousands and tens of thousands that you don't even know, let alone how can you trust them with your life, like the privacy of your life, everything in your life, right? So this is the other thing, fleeing useless relationships. We can't make our ascent with the constant weight of useless relationships. Next, this one kills me, okay? Slander. Every time I read it, I think to myself, that's why it really hurts me. These words are the words of St. John. I imagine that no one with any sense would dispute that slander is the child of hate. Slander is basically talking evil about someone, gossiping someone, judging someone, okay? Not being very nice to someone else, basically. Slander is the child of hatred and the remembrance of wrongs, okay? This is where it gets dicey. I have rebuked people who are engaged in slander and in self-defense. These evildoers claim to be acting out of love and concern. My answer to them was, stop that kind of love. If you love that man, then do not be making a mockery of him, but pray for him in secret. How many of us have either used social media or have seen others use social media or had others use it against us in this way, where we are trying to comment on something or judge something or fix something out of love for my brother or for my sister, but really it brings them shame, ridicule, or it brings me a sense of like pride or whatever it be. We do this all the time. All the time. So Facebook, a great place to spread gossip. So basically, this is where we can come together to sit and watch and judge and scroll through people's lives and give ourselves opinions about them and other people opinion about them. And it's it's impossible. I don't even say it's difficult. It's impossible to go through a timeline without getting a thought of judgment for someone else. No one can ever tell me that it's possible. I refuse to believe. Okay? You cannot go through a scroll and not have opinions of judgment about someone else. Okay? And this is the 10th rung of the ladder. This one is great. Okay? First, let's go with the picture. So this is a girl who... I cut this because it wasn't appropriate, but she basically goes, oh my God, I just read that China is 12 hours ahead of America. Why didn't they warn us about September 11th? Because they're 12 hours ahead, okay? And then she went on to not just insult, but she's like basically cursing at China and insulting China, and how dare you China, and like all the colorful language you can use about China because they're 12 hours ahead. They should have been in the future on September 11th and told us about it happening, okay? And this is the perfect, poor Laura, thank God I don't know who she is, so I can judge just a fictitious Laura. This is the perfect example for talkativeness, okay? Why? Talkativeness is the throne of vainglory, which is pride, okay? On which it loves to preen itself and show off. Talkativeness is a sign of ignorance, a doorway to slander, a leader of jesting, a servant of lies, the ruin of compunction, which is like repentance, a summoner of despondency, like laziness, a messenger of sleep, the end of vigilance, the cooling of zeal, the darkening of prayer. And the reason why this one hurts me is because I'm a very talkative person. I probably confessed this publicly to you in every single topic that we've done so far. My number one problem in life is my mouth, okay? As you can see standing here before you today, I have no problem speaking, okay? And speaking is proof that someone is a proud person. Okay? So I, Paul, here, you take it as an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. I, Paul, have a problem with talkativeness and pride, and I talk because I'm a proud person, and that's not good. And I can confess it before you today because it's the truth. Okay? So, talkativeness. When you talk so much, it's because you have so much in your own mind to give. So a meek person who doesn't talk so much is a humble person. Why? Because they don't feel like everyone's waiting for their opinion. I, on the other hand, as a proud person, feel like you guys should really benefit from my voice, okay? So if you're ever in a corner somewhere and you're in a group, okay, and I come by you and I'm like, so what are we talking about, guys? It's because I want you to hear my voice, okay? So take it as public confession, all right? I'll be the first to admit it, and this is a sign of pride. It's a sign of pride. Why? Because someone who is talkative always has opinions, and their opinions are the most important. As if other people really care what I think, okay? As if you really care what I think. I might even come up to you and be like, so, you should go to this place. I maybe did it to you, John. You should go to this place on your honeymoon. It's like, we don't want your opinion. And I'll be like, standing there, and you guys will be polite, and I'll be like, I see it. And I'm the clown who is jesting this whole time out of ignorance because I have no clue what your wants are or what you like. It's just me with a loud mouth, okay? So every time you think of talkativeness, I don't want you to feel bad about it. Just think of me. I'm the chief sick person in terms of people who talk too much, okay? But this is a problem. Now, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, and social media is a place where we post thousands of pictures. Can someone do simple math for me? That's 1,000,000 words in every scroll that we go through, everything that we post, everything we do. So basically, even if we're not speaking, the posting of all these pictures and opinions and things is just constant talkativeness. And the problem is this. I don't need to speak and tell you, oh, I went on this delightful vacation, we went to, and be all famous and whatever about it. I can just post a picture about it, right? And this is talkativeness. This is me being proud about my vacation. This is me being proud about my, whatever it be. People market their work on Facebook or whatever, they market their products. Or okay, this is a matter of me trying to market myself. So we're all in now the business of marketing, but we're marketing our lives, which is the greatest example of pride. If I think my life is worth marketing to everyone else, especially materially, how much more example do you want of pride? So we have 1,000,000 pictures going out, which are worth tens of millions of words, or thousands of billions of words, And this is constant talkative. And what's the problem with talkativeness? The problem with talkativeness is pride. It's the love of showing off. The problem with talkativeness is it shows how ignorant we are about everything, because we're always so short-term. We get angry, we post something, and then we regret it. Why? Because we're ignorant. We make rash decisions in the heat of the moment. Okay? The ruiner of compunction. It's very difficult to repent, okay, when you post evil, right? People, and I try to tell this to youth all the time, like, please, save yourselves. Don't post things, you shouldn't post in period, but don't post things of you in a club, or you doing this, or you do, like, we have people walking around who come to church on Sunday, but on Saturday night they're letting us know what they're doing, and it's not okay, and I don't want to be judging them, but you bring judgment upon yourself when you sent to 800 people what you're doing on Saturday night. You leave them no choice, right? And this is the ruiner of compunction. You can't repent when you're so proud about sin, when you're so proud about the materialness of our lives. Okay, it's very difficult. Moving on. Next one, insensitivity. This is also a really big one, okay? The two pictures, sorry, I don't know what's happening here, sorry. The two pictures will tell you that's all enough. I don't know where this picture was taken, but it basically shows you like a slum, okay, next to buildings of a financial center they're worth multi-billions, okay, and then that picture speaks for itself. You have a guy basically starving to death, malnourished, and he's feeding a guy who's overweight. All right? So insensitivity. St. John talks about insensitivity, but it's not just insensitivity in this perspective of the two pictures. Listen carefully. The words are really nice. The insensitive man complains about what has happened and does not stop eating what is harmful. He prays against it, but carries on as before, doing it and being angry with himself. His lips pray against it, and his body struggles for it. He talks profoundly about death and acts as if he will never die. He has plenty to say about self-control and fights for a gourmet life. He reads about the judgment and begins to smile about vainglory and is vainglorious while he is reading. He recites what he has learned about keeping vigil and at once drops off to sleep. Basically, he's learning, he tells people about how to stay awake for prayer, but then goes to sleep right after it and doesn't pray on himself. Okay? Prayer he extols and runs from it as if from a plague. Blessings he showers on obedience, and he is the first to disobey. Detachment he praises, and he shamelessly fights over a rag. Basically saying, he's telling people, detach from this world. Basically like what I'm doing now. He's saying, detach from this world. Detach, guys, from this world. But the second someone takes a Kleenex from his pocket, he's like, that's my Kleenex! Okay? Stupid Kleenex. Okay? But this is what it is. Okay? I find myself guilty of many of these things. Alright, he gorges himself, is sorry, and a little later is at it again. He teaches meekness and frequently gets angry while he is teaching. It's like, in prison who yells at someone and says, don't get angry! And it's like, what are you doing? It makes me sad. Okay? That's what I do with my children, by the way, although it doesn't work. It's terrible parenting. Don't do it. Okay? Where you yell at your child because they're yelling, it sends like weird messages. I've come to learn that. Okay? So just can't even become parents. He denounces laughter, and while lecturing on mourning, he is all smiles. And in front of others, he criticizes himself for being vainglorious and is making the admission he is looking for glory. In making the admission, he is looking for glory. He looks people in the eye with passion and talks about chastity. He glorifies almsgivers and despises the poor. So, in the social media, there's a lot here, okay? If you want this, I can text it to you, okay? I honestly really think you should just read the book, but if you want this, I can text it to you. But in the scope, okay, in the narrow lens of social media, okay, or wide, whichever way you want to look at it,